Natalie Portman plays an abandoned single mother who takes refuge in a small-town Walmart in that scene from Where the Heart Is. It's one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Joyce Kohaywick, film critic for WBZ-TV in Boston.
Our first movie is Where the Heart Is, a movie with colorful characters and good performances banging around inside a crazy house of a screenplay. What happens to these characters in life is bad enough, but what the screenplay pulls on them shouldn't happen to a character in South Park. The movie stars Natalie Portman as Nobly Nation, a 17-year-old unwed mother who becomes famous when she delivers her child right there in the Walmart. Ashley Judd is a nurse's aide who will become her best friend.
Is the hospital going to keep my baby? Where is she?
Why would the hospital keep your baby?
Because I can't pay. It's like a restaurant. When you can't pay, they make you wash dishes. I don't know what they're going to make me do.
No.
I'm broke. I got nothing.
Nobly becomes famous on the TV news as the mother of the Walmart baby, and so who should turn up but her long-lost own mother, played by Sally Field.
New Orleans? I've been living there about, I guess I've been living there about 2-3 years now.
With Fred?
Who?
Fred, the umpire.
What in God's name made you think of him?
Because he was the reason you left.
Kindly local townspeople give Nobly a home. Stockard Channing is wonderful as sister husband who is both devout and naughty.
And we ask forgiveness, Lord, for the fornication that Mr. Sprock and me have committed again this afternoon. Amen.
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 James Frame plays Forney, the local librarian. He loves her, but Nobly fears that she'll hold him back in life.
Forney's different from us. He went to college. His family had money.
What are you trying to say? That you're not good enough for him?
The movie includes tornadoes, kidnapping, alcoholism, amputations, and child abuse, and flashes forward in time at such a dizzying rate that the characters are always having to explain what year it is now. Somehow, a good cast is able to create lovable characters in the middle of this chaos, but the screenplay is all over the map. I got to give it thumbs down.
You know what? I give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
I recognize everything you're saying about this, but I thought Natalie Portman absolutely held the center of this film. The last time we saw her, she was sort of a sullen teenager in Anywhere But Here, but she makes this transition from a teenager into young womanhood so beautifully. She does it real life, she does it on the screen, and she makes all of these things believable. I also loved her resourcefulness. I love the idea that she was inventing herself. I thought that was a very liberating story. I mean, I would agree that it was a bad time for Stockard Channing to go out and deliver some soup. But I think...
Yeah, but I mean, well, for example, how about that scene where she's holding on by her fingernails in the tornado and grabs her baby as it flies past? I mean, some of the stuff...
What's wrong with that? That happened. They have tornadoes there. I thought that scene worked. It was effective.
There are good scenes in this movie, but I think it could have been a lot better movie with a tighter screenplay.
I liked it. It worked for me. Our next movie is The Last September, based on the novel by Elizabeth Bowen. Set in Ireland in 1920, the movie examines the decline of British rule and also the Anglo-Irish aristocracy. They were the wealthy heirs of the English immigrants born in Ireland, but who consider themselves Irish. At the country estate of the Nailers, 19-year-old Lois, played by Keely Hawes, is just beginning to explore romantic love and is being courted by British Army Captain Gerald Colthurst, played by David Tennant.
You mustn't write such things to me, you know.
Oh. Your mother, sir.
But Lois is also attracted to a fugitive Irish rebel played by Gary Lydon.
Like?
Killing. You get used to it.
While the Irish rebellion erupts all around them, Lois's aunt and uncle, Sir Richard and Lady Myra, perfectly played by Michael Gambon and Maggie Smith, preside over a tennis party.
I can't say I'm entirely sorry she's going soon. She's such a disruption. And I don't think she has at all a good effect on Hugo.
Hugo?
You must have noticed. It's a thing I can't speak to poor Francie about, but I know she's noticed.
The disruption is the flamboyant Marda, played by Fiona Shaw, who's still in love with the married Hugo, another guest at the mansion.
I thought you didn't believe in it.
What? Marriage?
Yes.
I never said so. You said you never would, and then you went and did, and now it's too late.
The movie fails to conjure up sympathy for these fog-bound aristocrats who are blind to the inevitable deterioration of their way of life, while simultaneously inviting us to feel that there is something poignant in this. And the Nailers' insistence on their tribal connections to Ireland when they are English by blood, custom, and religion is also confusing. Finally, I felt Keeley Hawes was miscast as Lois. She seemed too old and unexpressive in a very pivotal role. The Last September was ultimately a disappointment.
I agree with you. I really do, and everything you said. And Lois, the character played by Keeley Hawes, is obviously based on Elizabeth Bowen, who was 21 in 1920 and who grew up in an Anglo... It's her story. She grew up in an Anglo-Irish country house in County Cork. But the problem with Lois is she's maddeningly indirect in her relationships with men. There were two guys in this movie who either one could lose their life because of her feelings, and she isn't even sure if she likes them. I mean, she's kind of flattered by their attention, but we want more focus on that character. We want to know what she's thinking and why.
It's always superficial.
Yeah.
One has the sense that she's simply out for an adventure and that it doesn't tap into some sort of deeper schism that she has about her identity. You know, she in fact is carrying the burden of this movie's themes. You know, this split. Are they Irish? Are they English? There's this rebellion going on. We've got these aristocrats. She needs to carry that, and we need a much more expressive, volatile, and mutable actress.
Or for that matter, it's too bad that because movies are the way they are, it has to be the story of the young people and their love affair, when the two most interesting people in the movie are obviously Maggie Smith and Michael Gambon, as this old couple who are really having their last September, you know, maybe in Ireland, maybe in life. Coming up later in the show, Dennis Quaid creates a maze of alternative futures in frequency.
Something we did changed the past.
And coming up next, the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, before they were a family.
Now that's a dumb idea. Who's gonna pay to see dinosaurs? See, I got dinosaurs in my backyard.
The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas takes us back to the days when Fred and Wilma Flintstone first met and fall in love. And in that scene, we saw them doing a double date with Barney Rubble and his new friend Betty. Both Rock Vegas and a prehistoric theme park named Sage Park are excuses for many jokes which all have the same tired theme. Life was the same then as it is now, except then everything was made out of rocks and there were a lot of dinosaurs. That's Mark Addy as Fred and Kristen Johnston as Wilma. The movie's villain is Chip Rockefeller. Get it? He's played by Thomas Gibson as a rich guy who's gone broke and wants to marry Wilma for her fortune.
He wants all of his money by midnight Sunday, or he starts taking your casinos.
And breaking your leg.
This is a moot discussion, gentlemen, because by Sunday evening I shall be married to Wilma Slaghoople and one of the greatest personal fortunes in the uncivilized world.
You better be.
Or you'll be sleeping with the Tunosauruses.
If you don't count the endless and merciless puns, and I don't, the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas is essentially a one-joke movie, and that joke is that things that should not be made out of rocks are made out of rocks. I don't know if I really understand why the movie has to be live action, for that matter. As a cartoon, it would be freed of its cumbersome and ungainly sets and special effects and have the freedom of animation, like the cartoon did. The first Flintstones movie was no masterpiece, but it was compared to this.
Why did we need this movie?
We
I actually liked the first movie. I thought it was pretty funny, but this was so dull. I actually had a hard time staying awake, and I knew I was in trouble from the opening scene, one of the opening scenes, which began with a joke about dinosaur flatulence and went down from there. When we ended up with Barney and Fred in drag, I just about had it. And everything was second rate. I mean, Joan Collins was no Elizabeth Taylor. Mark Addy was not John Goodman. Where were they? The whole thing, it just didn't work.
Yeah, this is the road company. This is the provincial production of this movie.
It's hit
and
rock
it's just,
bottom.
everything is just 2 stages down from the other one, which wasn't that great either. I didn't like the first one that much, but this one is really a zero zone.
We have hit bedrock.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Coming up, Dennis Quaid reconnects with his son in the future in the sci-fi thriller Frequency.
What'd you say your name was?
Frank Sullivan.
Is this some kind of joke? Gordo, is that you or you messing with me? Well, I ain't messing with you. Look, I'm just trying to figure
You're telling
out...
me your name is Frank Sullivan. You live in Queens, and you want to know how I called the first game in the 1969 World Series.
It's no joke. John Sullivan has just made contact with his father, Frank, over a ham radio 30 years in the past in Frequency, an emotional time travel thriller. Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel play father and son, reunited one day before the anniversary of Frank's death in the line of duty as a firefighter when John was only 6. Amazingly, John now manages to warn his father and save him from making the mistake that cost him his life. By changing their past, however, the two realize they have created a new future, one that involves a series of unsolved murders.
They call him the Nightingale.
The Nightingale? We've been watching that on the news. I was worried about that. Your mother...
Dad, we did something. Something to make it worse.
I don't understand.
He didn't just kill 3 women anymore. He's killed 10.
Something we did changed the past. But how come your mother...
Well, just think about it. Everything you did is different than what would have happened if you would have never gotten out of that warehouse.
Together, father and son try to discover the killer's identity by getting his fingerprints off Frank's wallet.
Now, I want you to hide it somewhere. Somewhere where nobody's going to find it for the next 30 years.
I think maybe...
Where?
The window seat in the dining room. There's a loose board.
I must admit, the idea of traveling through time to change the past and solve a terrible crime is very alluring. But Frequency is also emotionally loaded. Quaid and Caviezel give highly charged performances here. But unfortunately, this film overreaches itself. It plays too fast and loose with the time travel scenario and ends up violating its own rules, while the ending sacrifices genuine emotion for flat-out sentimentality. I wish that I could travel through time and change this script. Alas, a reluctant thumbs down for Frequency.
I'm giving you a thumbs up, and I agree with you that the plot is way out of control. In fact, I gave up on explaining the plot. I don't think I understand it. Apparently, when you change something in the past, it changes the future, and then you have to change the past again, and there's never any end to it.
At one point, his future overtook his past, and I thought about this for a long time.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a paradox in there.
Yeah,
but
and
on the
there
other
may
hand,
be one actual big hole there, too.
Well, actually, I know the hole you're thinking of, but we won't get into that. On the other hand, I like the movie because of the idea of reaching back in time and being able to talk to your father, and how a father and a son who never really knew each other can communicate, can help each other, can get to know each other, can share things together. That's important, and I wish, in a way, the movie had had less crime. I mean, there's a big action sequence at the end that I thought was just routine. I would have rather just have the characters. What about a movie where they just talk to each other over 30 years on a radio without a serial killer involved?
That
would have been nice.
That's a very good point. I really struggled with this, too, because I actually liked so much of the film. But by the end, they betrayed the very thing to me that made this film worth seeing, which was this father-son relationship.
I nevertheless give it...
So a qualified thumbs down.
Okay, I'm up. Okay, next movie. Our next movie is a daring experiment on the cutting edge of the new digital filmmaking frontier. So daring, the story is upstaged by the movie's revolutionary method. Time Code by Mike Figgis uses a split screen that's split into 4 sections. Each section features an unbroken 90-minute take with a digital camera. The characters are all involved in the same story, and sometimes when they meet, we see them on more than one screen. Figgis dials up the volume in the quadrant that he wants you to focus on, and notice here how the dialogue shifts from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3.
I wish I didn't.
Farther into the rest.
Cares so much. Yeah.
There's no way around it. I mean, that's your call. That's my observation.
Oh, that's a good call. The same thing, flicker of light. We got soft focus 2 days in a row, and
That might not be a bad thing because she's not the spring chicken anymore.
Right. It's like a Playboy.
Rose is a would-be actress played by Salma Hayek, who is having an affair with a filmmaker played by Stellan Skarsgård, who gives her the brush off in quadrant 3.
I have a meeting. I gotta go, darling. I'm sorry.
Alex, you just got here.
I can't get you an audition if I don't have a company. And to have a company, I gotta go to meetings. Where's my jacket?
And a little later, again in quadrant 3, Rose, the actress, gets an audition with a director played by Richard Edson.
You don't know what this means to me.
No, you don't know what this means to me. I've been looking for somebody for 5 weeks, and I saw you the second I saw you.
I've been looking
I knew
for somebody
you
all
would be
my
it.
life that would discover me, you know, because
well, I am it, and you are it, and we will be it together. So let's go right now.
This movie is not actually as hard to follow as you might think it is. Mike Figgis' sound strategy underlines what's most important in any given moment. There are some effective moments here and prodigious displays of acting since all of the leads are more or less on camera continuously for 90 minutes straight. But time code is essentially a technical exercise. It doesn't absorb us in the story because the method keeps pulling us away from the story. I wonder what it would feel like to see all 4 stories separately.
You know, it may not be that interesting anyway,
Yeah,
is what I thought.
not, yeah.
But really and truly, one would hope that this would have been more than the sum of its parts. And in fact, it's really less than the sum of its parts because your attention is so distracted and all the energy is dissipated. So it's really a technical stunt, and it didn't serve the story. I mean, Altman did this with varying storylines, and he didn't need 4 screens. And when you want to run something all the way through unedited, I think they call that theater. And with no script, it's called improvised
Well, you know,
theater.
I think that Figgis, who really is a man of the cinema and who loves movies and who is trying something new here, gets some credit for trying this and demonstrating what can be done with these new digital cameras.
I would agree. He's
and
a
that
musician.
it's possible. But on the other hand, it just doesn't work except as a demonstration. But I'm giving it thumbs up as, I think if you're interested in the movies, you want to see this because of what it is. Apart from whether it works as characters.
Yeah, I didn't think it served its purpose.
dialogue.
I'm going to have to go thumbs down on that
Okay, coming up next, my video pick this week is a lot of fun, a Singapore version of Saturday Night Fever. My video pick this week is a movie named That's the Way I Like It, and this one you got to see in order to believe. It's a 1999 Singapore musical based cheerfully and obviously on John Travolta's 1977 hit, Saturday Night Fever. And in its own way, it has some of the same energy and charm. The movie stars Adrian Pang as a guy who works in a supermarket and has been to see Saturday Night Fever countless times. There are scenes here straight out of the original film, including this classic dinner table confrontation.
Hey, don't touch him, will you? Took 3 hours to do, okay? Did Leslie call tonight? Why you kick me?
Hey, before you hit your sister.
What, cannot say my brother's name, ah?
You mean sister? Hey!
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 Bye.
Oh, you have to hit my hair. I spent $30 to know you hit my hair.
Just like in the original, he enters a disco contest and abandons his sweet girlfriend in order to partner with a sex bomb he thinks is going to give him a better chance to win.
You know about a dance competition next week? Want to partner me?
I thought you and Richard...
Well, plans have changed.
You're nothing without me. You hear me? You hear me?
So?
For the big contest, the hero even has a local tailor make a knockoff of Travolta's famous white disco suit. The movie still has the spirit of the original film of a kid who feels stuck in his life but hasn't forgotten how to dream. Saturday Night Fever was one of Gene Siskel's favorite films, and I'll bet he would have been delighted by this homage from Singapore. The title, once again, is That's the Way I Like It. It's a recent arrival on tape and DVD, and it's my video pick of the week. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. A split decision for Where the Heart Is. Joyce thought the characters redeemed the script. I didn't. 2 thumbs down for The Last September, which we both felt lacked a strong central focus. 2 big thumbs down for The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. But we split on frequency, although we both responded to the moving father-son relationship. And finally, another disagreement on Time Code, Mike Figgis' groundbreaking digital film. It doesn't really work as a story, but I think it's worth seeing as an experiment.
And I would like to second that. I have to say I applaud the effort, even though it was dull for me.
Okay, remember you can hear our reviews on the web, Joyce and myself, at ebert-movies.com, part of Go Network, and my print reviews are online at suntimes.com/Ebert. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including Gladiator with Russell Crowe pitted against the might of the Roman Empire. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.